This is an interview with Miss Daisy Jefferies from the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute. I'm Dr. Horace Huntley. We're at Miles College. Today is May 12th, 1995. Thank you, Ms. Jefferies, for coming out and sitting and talking with us today.
Appreciate the invitation.
Yes, ma'am. I just want to start by asking some general kinds of questions. Where are you from originally? Where were you born?
I was born in Demopolis.
In Demopolis. And you went to elementary school and high school at Demopolis, right?
I went to elementary school at Demopolis. And then when we moved over there to Galion, Alabama, I still went to elementary school there. And then we moved. I had an aunt that lived in Demopolis, and I lived with her a while and went to school.
Right. So you came to Birmingham, though, after you finished high school?
Yes,
right?
After I finished high school, I came to Birmingham and went back to school.
Where did you go to school then?
I went to Parker. You know, they had these classes down there. They call them addition to school that you had already had.
The Parker Annex?
Yes, and quite a few of us. We went to Parker.
And then you went on to Parker High School. You graduated from Parker.
I did.
And then where did you go to college?
Miles.
Went to Miles. Okay.
Miles College.
Okay, and
graduated from Miles.
Graduated from Miles. Okay. How many brothers and sisters did you have?
I had 3 brothers. Never had a sister.
3 brothers.
I had 3 brothers, and all 3 of them are passed out.
The only girl.
Yeah, only one left now.
Right. Were your parents from Demopolis as well, both of them?
Both of them. They was in Galion, Alabama. That's where they were really from.
Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of work did they do?
Well, my father was a Baptist preacher, and Mama worked. She didn't, women didn't work a lot out, She just worked around the house and that kind of.
Right.
But she never had a job out. She just kept house. Yeah.
She was a housewife.
Yes, and he preached and had a little farm like people have around in the road. Had a little farm. My brothers worked. One of my oldest brother worked out. He got drowned. My oldest brother did.
Is that here in Birmingham?
No, in Galion where we worked.
I see. Is that Galion?
G-L-L-I-O-N, Galion now.
Okay. What we're doing, we're attempting to get information about how Birmingham developed over time. And you, by living in Enon Ridge, how would you describe Enon Ridge as a community in the time that you were in the early days?
Well, when I first moved there, I always thought it was a nice place, it was a quiet place, and the people believed in owning something, having something. They had several churches there, and it was just a nice, small neighborhood. Everybody knew everybody, helped everybody. It's real nice.
What were the occupations of people that lived there? You finished Miles, and you were a teacher, right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. What other kinds of occupations were in your neighborhood, your community?
Well, quite a few went to school. Quite a few finished Miles with me. And of course, some went in the work business, how they had work going on, especially boys.
Right.
A lot of them went in the work business. But quite a few went to school.
Were you a member of any community organizations?
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Were you ever a member of the NAACP?
Oh, yeah, I could have brought you a book about that. Yes, we went at night and met at night when other people were afraid. But I was quite an NAACP person. I always have been a civic-minded person.
Mm-hmm.
And I work with them now. Everything.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, what were some of the issues that you were concerned about as a member of the NAACP?
Well, we broke down a lot of barriers. We went a lot of places that black folks hadn't ever been. I have never been, I guess, being reared with boys, I had never been what you call a scary person. And I would go with are we going to such and such a place tonight? And at that time, they were really rough. They would, it was bumming all around places. They find out you were meeting place. But I never was afraid. And wherever they went, I went with them.
Where were you? Where you say you were? You were going to various places.
Yeah, a church is found even at our church, Sardis Baptist Church, and we had meetings there when people were afraid to come. And most of the churches around 16th Street, most of the churches around. As we went, we was going to see what went on there. And in all that fear, we weren't afraid of anybody. All that fear went away. The police is all lined, parked. We walked right by them like they weren't even there. And they finally quit coming.
This was at the meetings?
Yeah, and police was at the meeting. They thought that would frighten you from coming. And we went right on with them. And where the boys went, we went right on. But those were some tough times in those days.
Were there other teachers involved?
A few. Now, they was afraid of that job. But I told them I lived a long time before I taught. And I thought I could live on. I didn't think about no getting fired. I don't guess I had sense now. But
tell me, how did you get involved in the movement? What were the circumstances of your getting involved?
Our church was involved.
And what church was that?
Sardis Baptist Church up on the hill. Well, it's just walking distance from me. But it was some people there, and we had a pastor, Reverend C.H. George. He was an elder man. But he wasn't afraid of anything. And that's where we got our encouragement from him. And we had our meetings sometime. We would get there, and the police is just almost like people dropping handkerchiefs, standing all around the door and everything. And we would just go there and stand. And finally, they would move and let us come on in. I got to the place we just weren't afraid of anything.
What places did you participate in sit-ins, any of the big demonstrations?
No, I didn't go out. Well, we did most of this around the churches at home. Quite a few of them did buses and all that kind of thing. But we did help to integrate the buses because we would just get on. We weren't going anywhere, but get on there and sit down, and they would look at us. And when they got through looking, then they would get off. It was interesting, though. The things that we went through, you just wouldn't think people with good sense. They told us we didn't have good sense, And a lot of the older people was afraid that they gonna bomb their houses and all that kind of thing. But it was something, and when I think about it now, it was amazing. But we didn't think about being afraid.
Did you attend the movement's mass meetings?
Yeah, when it was, as they say, when it got so hot, we were having meetings every night. Every night. Most of the churches around, some was afraid for us to come. And our church started it all. And then the others kind of, and Reverend C.H. George, he was a kind of elder man that pastored our church. He wasn't afraid of anything. And that gave us more courage. And it was interesting. I think about it now, and I wonder how did we do it.
How would you describe a typical mass meeting?
It was people. All the people from everywhere would come. And they would have different ministers, those who were not afraid to come. And they would have people to come and speak, men and women. They were just so interested in the people. They just church full and all around. It was interesting thing. And the people, they would just think about the things they wanted, and they would talk about what they could do if we would stick together. And they did that. Church couldn't hold them. They would stand up. It was quite interesting.
Were there ever Birmingham police officers?
Every night. Every night.
Why were they there?
I think they're going to frighten somebody away. And after so we weren't thinking about them, they gradually kind of dropped off. But they would be standing right there in the door, standing in the door, and we just stand there till they finally moved, and we would go on in. Nobody raised any disturbance or say anything. We just.
Did you ever go to jail?
No, I didn't. I missed jail twice.
How do you mean you missed jail twice?
They arrested 5 people and another lady and myself. And when the man looked around, we had walked in the church. And they didn't know what happened to us, so they had to take them they had and go. And we laughed about it. And another time, just like when you walk up to the church, and they was just catching them, taking them on off. And I just went in the side door. And that's how I missed it. I never did get to jail, but I got close. I wasn't anxious about going to jail.
Did others in your family participate?
Yes, they just participated. I had a younger brother. He was a bad man. He wasn't afraid of anybody. Yeah. And they, but when white people see that you're not afraid, then they get afraid, So they would walk up and stand and look, and they would stand across the door. Where you go in church, they would stand just like somebody gonna drop handkerchiefs like children used to do. And we would just walk up and stand. Just stand there. And finally they would move to the side. I read this entire these niggas standing up here. They moved to the side and we walk on in. So finally they quit that foolishness, People sure can be crazy.
Did your husband participate?
Well, he was working. No, he didn't participate too much. He pushed us and what help he could give to us. But he worked at steel plant. And they was really checking on all those fellas, Sipico and steel plant like that. And of course, we had to eat.
Well, if you were teaching, there were teachers who refused to participate
They
because they were afraid. Why were you not afraid?
I never was afraid because I was eating before I started teaching. Mm. I'm thinking about the hook. They fired me. I wouldn't have worried about it. But it seemed like when they see you're afraid, but we just walked right up there and stand. The police with the guns and standing across in front of the church, you would think they was looking for the most wanted criminal. Mm. And we just walk on up there and we stand. Finally, they move aside and we go on in.
Did you have children?
No, I don't have children.
How did other members of your family react to your participation in the movement?
Well, they liked it. Now, they weren't as brave. All I wasn't as brave as I was. But they would push us on, those who would go. But I just never thought anything about it. I didn't think I never thought they was going to do anything to me. I just thought they was bluffing, which they were, And I've never been what you call a scary person, I guess because I was reared with boys. I was reared with 3 brothers. Right. And I just go on. I said, and they didn't bother me.
You said that your minister was actively involved in the movement.
Yes, he was.
What about other members of your congregation?
Some of them, all of them not going to ever. Right. Some would tell me, child, they liable to bum that church. They bumming this church. I said, they're not going to bum ours.
What benefits do you think the community realized as a result of the movement? Oh,
so many. That's where the benefits started, at the movement. And so many things that we received that we never would have gotten because we finally got the white folks kind of nervous if they didn't do what we had asked them to do. So they do most everything, and it really helped everything in time, as it went on. You could see where it helped everything. And I just enjoyed it so much just to know that I was doing something, because the time had come that something had to be done. And I was just so happy with it. I've never been a scary person, no, not too much. That's what my husband used to tell me. You just think you can whip everybody. I said, no, I'm not worried about whipping everybody. I said, but ain't anybody gonna whip me? He would look at me.
So did he ever attend any of the mass meetings?
Oh, yes. He attended quite a few of the mass meetings. But he didn't take as much part as I did, because I traveled with a lot of them. Places they went, I like traveling anyway. And he said that movement is just helping you out because you want to be gone.
Where did you travel to?
It was kind of, to different places around, not too far away. But we would go and have meetings, Those people would come to us, and we would go over to East Thomas and have meetings. All the neighboring churches. And then sometimes if we get a bus and going out somewhere, we really worked together better than we ever did before our sin.
Right.
But it was the most interesting thing. But I never was afraid. I never thought anybody was going to do anything to me. And I reckon that was crazy.
Were your neighbors involved?
Quite a few. In some, just like everything else. They sit on the porch and talk about what they're going to keep on running up there till they kill some of them up there.
In 1963, when the demonstrations took place here in Birmingham, did you do any marching at that time?
Oh, yes, I marched.
What do you remember about the marches?
Well, we would meet at the church, at various churches. And things like that, it just become a part of you, And all you want to know is where you're going to meet. And people making excuses about where they can't go and all of that. But they write those cars red, and trucks and buses and everything. And we would be there. I mean, when the members of the church got there, we were there. Because it was interesting, and it kind of grow on you. It's in your blood. And don't be afraid of anything. I think about it now. I said, my mother said, the Lord take care of babies and fools. They was kind of shaky,
How would you assess the Birmingham movement? You think it was successful, or?
I think it was quite successful. Because, see, you had to start somewhere. And we talked about it, and the folks talked about it. And I think the first meeting that they had at the church, they got groups together before they had a meeting. And anybody out there belonged to any other church, they met. We had the first meeting at our church. And got all the men, the men was forward first, and setting it up. But we was always around on hand. And the ministers, it just spread it to the ministers, but there was some who never showed, It's man said that's where they was getting their bread. So they couldn't leave it. But quite a few participated, and as time went on, they came in as time went on.
What is the most vivid memory that you have of the movement activity?
Well, I got so close to going to jail. Of course, it didn't matter with me. I kind of wanted to go because some of my friends were going. But one night we were just about to leave. We thought all the white folks all the Ku Klux was gone,
You mean just about to leave the church?
Leave the church, yeah. And
after a meeting?
Yeah, after a meeting. And when we came to the door, they were standing there. Well, there's some niggas there, they ain't never left. We'll just carry them on to jail. So I had a jacket on my arm. I just reached around and got my jacket. I was going to jail, But my brother and two of my brothers were there. They definitely didn't want me to go to jail, And he just kind of pushed me around to this little closet here, and they went on out there. They went on to jail, but they definitely didn't want me to go to jail. I never did go.
Is there anything else that you'd like to add that we hadn't dealt with that relates to the movement?
Oh, if you had told me, I could have jotted some things down. We had
Did you ever? You said you took part in the demonstrations. You marched. Did you ever sit in?
no, because they went places and sat in, and I didn't ever go over.
Did you ever help coordinate those kinds of efforts?
Oh, yes, I was at my church, because those people were so afraid when they first started, you know. And I was so brave, and they would just look at me. But I just didn't have any fear, because it was something that had to be done, and somebody had to do it.
Right. So you thought that this was just part of your duty.
Yeah, I really felt that way, and I still feel that way. If it's anything I can do to a betterment of the country or home life, I say, well, after all, you're supposed to be here to do something. And as my mother said, you call yourself educated, so you should put forth to do something. But anywhere that I can help or encourage people to do something like that. You got, instead of putting all your money and all the fine housing and everything, and then you wouldn't even spend a dime to help somebody. Not anything. They live such and such a place. They don't come up to my standard. No, that kind of junk. You know, we're a sight. As my brother said, just let them get a new pair of shoes.
Ms. Jefferies, I want to thank you for coming out and spending this time with us today because you've been very helpful.
Well, if you had told me, I could have jotted a lot of things down.
Yeah, well,
You know,
we may do it again sometime.
Yeah, you may
and
do
that'll be
that.
helpful. And if you have any items that you would like to donate to the Civil Rights Institute, we'd be very thankful for that.
Well, I'll do that.
Okay.
I sure will.
Well,
And I
thank you.
appreciate you inviting me.
All right. Thank you very much.
Sweet
You see, I don't have a problem.
Oh Lord, it's sweet.